It is Friday, June 28th, 2024. This is another edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our good friends over at Factor. That Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, and intern Tommy along for the ride as well. Happy baseball weekend, my dude. How you doing?
I appreciate that, Chris. I'm doing great. Had a nice little barbecue last night, kind of like a play date turned into a barbecue. So I was manning the grill all night, which that gets me fired up. So I'm in a good mood. I got my coffee here, my Baseball Today mug, ready to talk some ball with you.
Yeah, I've already kind of taken my BP, if you will. I just recorded another Rose Rotation episode. Excuse me, with Stephen Kwan of the Cleveland Guardians. That's why I'm all choked up. It was nice. I got all dressed up, head to toe in my Cleveland gear like I slept in it the night before. It was fun. That'll be coming out Monday. He was great. God, he was so good. He was as good as he's been on the diamond. Yeah, I know.
He better be good. He's raking right now.
I know.
He's probably walking around in a permanent good mood right now. Teams,
I would imagine.
Place. I'm raking. Let's go. Show me the money. Is that what did he say that a few times on the podcast?
He did not. Oddly enough, he did not. Okay. Start off with the tip of the cap. How about to our bosses? And not just because it's Suck Up Friday to your bosses. Jimmy and Jake, they got us on Bally's. Now, you're not the only member of John Boy Media that'll be on Bally's when you call the Twins games. Our warehouse games will make their debut. I believe it's this Sunday across 17 different Bally's spots. So you can check out, I think it starts maybe with Blitzball Battle 3 or something like that. We'll have ball and play, floor ball on there. This is a big deal. It's awesome that it's kind of coming to linear television. I like that.
No, it's really cool. It's really cool. I want to make some joke about, you can't keep me off TV when I play sports, whatever that is. But I will say this, Jimmy's had this vision for a long time. And I didn't buy in totally to it until we started to really up the production. Then I saw kind of, okay, I see where we're going with this. And then this last tournament that we were just at, the 4-ball and the games played and everything, it's just gotten better and better and better. So I think people are going to really appreciate the product. But this is all from Jimmy's brain, man. I mean, nobody else is creating sports leagues like that. This doesn't happen, and he made it happen, man.
Yeah, and don't worry, for those of you that follow it on our YouTube channel, that's not going to change. What it does is it probably broadens our audience and hopefully brings more people into the company so they can not only find out about the warehouse games, but find out what we do here at Baseball Today and talking baseball and with Jolly's stuff and with Jack and Zoe. It's great for everybody. So we're very proud and appreciative of your support. And tell your friends if they haven't seen it, go check it out on Bally's this weekend. We're going to get it going with Bryce Harper and Aaron Judge. Thursday started very good for both those guys. They were the top vote getters in their respective leagues, so they automatically punched their ticket to the All-Star game. That was the good. Later in the day, it wasn't so good for Aaron Judge and his team. We'll talk about that momentarily. But then on the final play of a loss to the Miami Marlins, Bryce Harper, trying to get the first, grabbed his hammy. He's going to have some imaging. He said this is something that he has never had to deal with before. Unfortunately, injuries have been a part of his history. Are you starting to worry that maybe Bryce Harper will get a Trout injury label to him?
I think Mike Trout is going to get some shrapnel thrown his way this episode. No, I don't think so. I'm looking back at his game logs, and over the last couple of years, he's missed a handful of games. The TJ and then now this, but I don't think it's been enough to call him super injury prone. I mean, soft tissue injuries are going to happen. It's surprising he says he's never felt something like this before. He really hasn't dealt with them. That was my entire career with soft tissue injuries. So he'll be okay. It's a couple of weeks. You got to make sure you're fine. It is that time of year where, it starts to get hot and humid. You got to make sure you're hydrated as best as possible. So these things will start to flare. But I believe Schwarber also had a little groin issue. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, no, I don't think he's there where, we talk about Buxton like that. We do talk about Trout like that a little bit. I don't think Harper is there where we're calling him injury prone just yet. In fact, I think maybe the opposite, how fast he came back from some of these injuries and how he wanted to play through them. I think that's what I think of when I think of Bryce Harper.
Yeah, this is the first one where I'm a little bit worried just because when injuries start happening to guys in their 30s, particularly when you're talking about soft tissue, that's the sort of thing that you have to be careful with. You really do. 2021, he missed more than 20 games because he got hit in the face. Like, he got hit in the face like twice in 2 years. That could have put guys down for months and months. He missed like 20 games.
Yeah, he played 141 games. That's a full season.
Pretty close. 2022, he had a partially torn UCL, had to have surgery for that. So he missed more than 60 games. Once again, that's not going to happen every year. If it does, then you have the most UCL I've ever seen. Now this is going to cost him several weeks. To me, I suppose the question is it going to cost him a shot at a third MVP?
I mean, this is at least 2 weeks. I don't know how long it's going to be. I guess the severity of it is going to be found out today. They'll grade it out for him. At most a month. Will it cost him MVP? Probably. I think so. If Shohei continues to stay healthy and is doing what he's doing, then yeah, the counting stats just kind of won't be there.
And you're talking about a pretty select group in the history of the sport that have at least 3 MVPs. There's only 11 guys to do it. We know that Barry Bonds is at the top of the food chain with 7, but there's some legends of this sport, right? I mean, Albert Pujols, Mike Schmidt, I believe Jimmy Fox had 3, Stan Musial had 3. It's Mike Trout, I think, has got 3. It's a very, very select group.
I also think now that once he comes back from this, I think the Phillies will pump the brakes, probably try to rest him more, seeing the playoffs in the picture and everything. They need him at that point. So I think they'll back off him, which will, again, probably cause him to fall out of MVP 1 discussions.
Well, and let's be honest, part of the reason that he's at first base is because they didn't want the wear and tear of him chasing balls down in the outfield. He was a really good outfielder. Yeah. So they've already made those sort of adjustments.
I can't believe he's only 31, Chris. It seems like this guy's been in the game for 20 years.
I know. It does feel that way.
I guess this is his 13th year. That's crazy.
By the way, there was a shot. We didn't run the post-game sound, but somebody had it from a side view. His hair looked like a tidal wave. I cannot believe how much hair that guy has.
Okay.
It's incredible.
Good for him.
Oh, God, I wish I could do that. I'm sick of shaving it off my back and stapling it to my head. That's where I've reached now. Is
he universally loved now? Has he gone before? Everyone was kind of like picking on him, this young guy coming into the league.
Yeah.
And now I feel like he's just played so well and like hustled and said all the right things. He's never a problem off the field. We talk about Judge in that light in New York, but Bryce Harper has done everything right. Like I feel like if you don't respect Bryce Harper, there's something wrong with you.
I think I'm 100% in your corner on that one. I think it's a great call. I think very few people. He still has that edge that might rub some people the wrong way, but not me.
Like, I want that guy on my team.
I hear you 1,000%. I'm sure there's some people that don't, but that'd be interesting. You can always throw that either in the chat or, if you want to on our YouTube channel, go for it. The reason I'm wearing the Blue Jays hat, they've been limping through their season. They're at the bottom of the division. But Thursday, they definitely had a party north of the border.
And Springer gets into another one. Way out of here.
Yeah, I believe that was consecutive innings of 3-run homers for George Springer. They take it to Carlos Rodon and the New York Yankees in game 1 of their weekend set. Yankees lost, Orioles won, so Baltimore now leads the division via percentage points. But the big story continues to be Toronto and what they will do approaching the trade deadline, particularly with their injured shortstop, Bo Bichette. Hazel May, who covers the Blue Jays on a daily basis, asked Bichette if he'd be surprised if he was traded. Quote, "No, not surprised at all." Do you think he's a goner or not?
I actually don't. And I don't think he meant like I'm going to get traded. I've heard, rumblings in the back. I think he's just saying like I wouldn't be surprised because he's been around baseball for a long time and he understands that, it happens, especially if you're approaching your walk year. There's no contract talks really being had. Like he understands this is the business of the game. But I just don't think he's going. Number one, yeah, he's working back from an injury. He's having a down year. Like it'd be crazy for the Blue Jays to trade him right now. Unless they got overwhelmed with a package, but I don't think that's going to happen, Chris. So I'm more in the camp like we'll see how they finish out. I still think they want to compete in 2025. So that would mean keeping him. Now they have other guys they could trade this year, but as far as Bo Bichette and Vladdy, I think they're going to go into next year with them unless they decide in the offseason things aren't working out. Let's start to rebuild. I think if anything, he gets traded in the offseason, and still I don't think they'll trade him unless they go into 2025 and it happens like this again, where they're in last place in the division, under 500 at the halfway point. I think that's when he ends up going.
I think his response was perfect. I think it meant that, I get the business. Like, I understand it. Yeah. So if I get traded, I'm not going to be shocked. I will be shocked from this standpoint. Bo Bichette has not been an above average baseball player by the numbers since last July. It's been a good while. And I hate to say this. Last August, he only played 8 games. He was banged up. 629 OPS. September, 718. So that's slightly above average. March and April this year, 577. 710 in May. 510 in June. It's been a while. So you're talking about selling very well. Don't you don't have to twist.
I can give you some eye contact.
You can, but you're twisting your head like, Rose, what are you saying? My point is that it has been now 5 full months since we've seen a really good Bo Bichette. And I'm not saying he can't get back there. What I'm saying is that the Blue Jays would be selling at the lowest possible point. So why in the world would they do it? Don't they want him to? I don't think they're going to get back into this thing now. But if you can get him healthy and get his value up, then you either entertain the idea of extending him in the offseason or, as you mentioned, trading him with a year to go on his deal.
Yeah, I mean, he's got enough of a track record where I think teams would put away those 5 months you just mentioned and say, look, we know what this guy can do. He's also still only 26 years old, dude. Mm-hmm. So, there's plenty of good baseball left in Bo Bichette. And I do think he would benefit from a change of scenery somewhere. I would love to see him go and have some real, heady veteran hitters, around him, surrounding him. I don't think he's really had that in his career, right? He's just kind of they were a young team. Who's been his veteran leader with him? You could say Justin Turner this year, but a guy that's been there and been around him for quite some time. I don't think he's really had that. So, yeah, I just don't think he's getting traded this year. As much as people want to speculate and, he's going to the Dodgers, going to this team, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Well, you do mention, the Dodgers, the Braves probably would make some sense for him too. Those are places where he would have guys who have had very, very good careers in the same lineup with him. That would all be good, I think. I just don't think it's happening.
I'm going back looking for mentors now, and I'm just...
Mentors? Well, I don't know. I don't know what role George Springer has played. I've always known George is a pretty good guy. I just don't know what he's like.
I mean, I see Marcus Semien there in 2021.
Okay, well, that's a good one. Semien really well.
No, he's great, but that, he was only there for 1 year, right?
Yep.
So it's when I think back in my career, I had Morneau for 3 or 4 years. I had Mauer for 5 or 6 years. I had Willingham for 3 years. You start to earn trust in these guys. They help you. I don't think Bo's had that, which is interesting.
It's possible. It's possible. Today's episode of Baseball Today is brought to you by our friends at Booking.com. Booking.yeah. We're at the end of June. That means you're taking trips with your family. That means you love baseball if you're listening to this show. And so that means maybe it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. And yes, we are talking about your rival cities. They got hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, so much more at Booking.com. You might just find the perfect stay even in your baseball rival city. And what I'm talking about is those teams that are in your division, right? You make 2 trips a year to those other cities. And one is, because of the schedule, most likely going to be during your summer vacation. So you probably have thought man, I'm not going to like that city. And I definitely don't want to go visit that stadium. And then all of a sudden your kids look at you and they're like, hey, let's go knock out a few more stadiums this summer. You're like, okay. Look at the schedule and you're like, okay, we're making that trip to Chicago, or we're going to Baltimore, or we're making a trip to Atlanta, or whatever it is. And Booking.com, just a few little clicks away, they'll hook you up. They can find you hotels that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts. So Booking.com has so many choices from the U.S. and for your summer travel this baseball season. So the right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, yes, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com, an official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. You can do it on the site or in the Booking.com app today. Enjoy your trip. Should be fun. Baltimore, all over Texas last night. 4 more big flies for the Baltimore Orioles. John Gray, the Texas starter, tagged for 8 runs in 5 innings. There was certainly no gray area when talking to John after the game.
What is it about their ball club that has the ability to do that against all you guys?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, they put the bat on the ball, but I mean, I thought that some of the ones I threw, I would have hit out myself. So, don't give them too much credit.
Don't give him too much credit. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think that was more of a dig on himself right there. John Gray's had an interesting year where he's had a couple blow-up starts. His first start, I think he got 5 runs, and then he has 2 where he's given up 8 or more runs, and everything else besides that, he's actually been really good. So it's been an up and down year for him. I think yesterday he was talking about how he couldn't really get a grip on the baseball, and he wasn't able to find an adjustment to help his control, and he just was leaving balls over the middle. And then he said, "Yeah, I could have hit one of those out," which he probably couldn't have, John.
I think he's a decent hitter, actually. So it's possible that he could have. I liked that part. Self-deprecation, you get check marks all around the book for me on that one. I didn't love the last phrase. I always find it funny when people say, I'm not going to give them credit, or they didn't win the game, we lost the game. Like that sort of stuff. I think it's silly. It makes you look sillier more than anything. It's not like the worst thing I've ever heard, but it's just odd phrasing. Baltimore Orioles are pretty good. They lead the world in homers. So they're a talented team. So I would like to give them credit, even if the ball was 92 down the middle or whatever it was. Bigger picture here. The Rangers, we're now at the halfway point. We're 81 games into this thing. They are 37-44, and we just keep saying, all right, well, Max Scherzer's making his second start tonight. Jacob deGrom is starting a throwing program. Like, at what point do we say we're a little panicked about the champs?
We got a bunch of teams like the Rangers where they expected to be a much better ball club, and they feel like they are. They just haven't put wins on the board. I think it's about that time, Chris. This is a roster that's set. Like, I don't think they're going to add necessarily. I don't think they're going to deal necessarily. I think like this is the roster, and it's a pretty dang good roster, but pretty much all of the guys offensively just they've struggled. They haven't put up numbers the way they should put up numbers. And, when the offense is struggling like that, the mistakes get magnified because you don't have a bunch of extra opportunities to go cash in on runs. Like you have to play really good baseball, clean baseball when your offense is struggling like that. Do I see a run coming from these guys? I do, actually. I think they're going to be much better than they've showed. There's too much of a track record from these guys for them not to be. So I expect them to kind of like get back in it. Is it going to be a too little too late? Possibly. But if you're looking at, just the statistics here, the only guy with a OPS in the 800s is Josh Smith. We're talking, this is a lineup with Marcus Semien, a lineup with Corey Seager. Now they're going to get Josh Jung back, and maybe that's the spark that gets everybody going. And we've seen this team go on crazy offensive runs to a World Series title last year. So I wouldn't be shocked if we're, in a month or so, we're like, okay, like this is more of what we thought was going to happen. Evan Carter starts to show up. White Langford starts to show up. He's been a little bit better as of late. Like if it seems like at any given moment, they all could just, start banging, and we'll think about this Texas Rangers team completely different. But they got a lot of work ahead of them, Chris, because they've dug themselves a hole here.
It just feels off this year. It really does. You talked about the offensive struggles, which is the most shocking thing with them. So a year ago at this time, through 81 games, they were 49-32. They were a dozen games better than where they are today. That is a stark difference for them.
It is.
And I don't know, you have to tell me, how do you guys break down baseball seasons? I know in the NFL, teams basically break it down into quarters. I know they play 17 games now instead of 16s. but that's how they do it. They go, okay, through the first quarter,
It's interesting.
you could be
I really
2
thought
and
about
2.
it. I think maybe like thirds, like you have the beginning of the season, and then you have the dog days, and then you have the race at the end. I think that's what you'd say.
But you guys don't ever really look at the standings, do you?
Not really. Just there's so many games, Like if you're scoreboard watching in May, it's like you're gonna drive yourself crazy. So that's why everyone says, just it's series. Let's go win some series.
Are there some guys that don't even know the team's record? Like if I went into the Rangers clubhouse, would they know that they're 37-44?
I think you know your own record. Yeah. You know the general vicinity of where people are in the standings, how teams are playing, leading up to playing against you. But I know what you're saying. Like there are a lot of times where you're just so focused on the day in and day out of yourself and you're not really taking a big outside perspective look on the league in general.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think surprised me most when I started covering this sport was you guys are so squarely focused on the next 3 or 4 game set. Like you don't even know. So you might play another, when you were with the Twins, you might play another non-divisional team twice all year.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you'll do. You'll have one series at home and one series on the road. So you don't know much about the Baltimore Orioles or the Seattle Mariners other than the 2 times you're playing them. So then you start looking, you're like, oh my God, that guy's really pitching great. Or, oh my God, that guy's smoking it at the dish. It is fascinating how little you guys pay attention outside of your own lane.
I was just looking at the Rangers schedule coming up and I was like, oh, is there any let up? There's not any let up.
No,
Like they got Baltimore, San Diego's been playing really good. Tampa's like kind of on the come up. Then you get the Angels, but then you go into Houston, Baltimore again. And then it kind of lightens up for them at the end of July, which is when they're going to have to make their decisions. But this is so like you asked, like, how do you break up a season? Like right now, they're looking like, can we prove to Chris Young in the front office that, he needs to add a little bit? I said they're not going to add much. I don't think they will. Maybe some bullpen arms, but their roster is kind of set. But this is the part of the season where, I would call it like, I don't know what I would call it. I don't really have a name for it.
Mid.
They got to go.
It's the mid. All right, so I got a question for baseball fans out there. Do you hate foul balls? No, not the kind that go in the stands. No matter how much you scrub them in the shower, yeah, they still stank. Well, we want you to ditch the soap, step up to the plate with Mando Whole Body Deodorant. It was developed by a doctor. It's a game-changing formula. It's safe for your entire body and knocks out odor like a champ. Mando is actually made with mandelic acid, which picks off odor right at the source. It keeps you fresh and smelling for up to 72 hours. Mando is also available in solid sticks and invisible cream, body wash, cleaning bars, deodorant wipes when you're on the go as well. Like they've got the whole body deodorant. It's seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. So we're talking about your pits, south of the equator, your belly buttons that can get nasty there, butt cracks, stinky crevices, stomach folds, and your feet too, which need a little help. It's clinically proven to control odor better than any shower with soap. It's got Mando's starter pack. It's perfect for brand new customers. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash, the deodorant wipes, and also free shipping. And luckily, we have a discount code to help you get hooked on your favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off the starter pack with the exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. So use the code baseball today, shopmando.com. That is SHOPMANDO.com. Code baseball today. You'll smell better.
Hey, more schedule watching for the Rangers. Once they hit August 27th, like they probably have the easiest strength of schedule from that point on. So like they could go on a significant run in September. If they can kind of just keep it close, keep it tight, they could sneak in and we can see another one of those crazy offensive explosions, man. They got White Sox, Oakland, a bunch with the Angels, Toronto, we'll see what they do. And then they end with 6, Oakland and Anaheim. Like it's there. Excuse me, Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah. I'm watching the Cubs schedule. They are now on the road in Milwaukee after they snapped a 4-game slide with a win over San Francisco in the series finale on Thursday. Check the standings. They're 10.5 back of the Brewers. Do you think their new first-year skipper and former Brewers leader Craig Counsell is shocked that these two teams, meaning the Cubs and Brewers, sit where they do today?
Do I think he's shocked? I mean, yeah, like he didn't envision this going the way it's gone for the Cubs. You go over there, you want to make a great first impression as a manager. The roster that he was given hasn't necessarily performed. They're kind of on the same. I mean, you could speak about the Rangers and the Cubs and basically say the exact same dang thing. They don't even have a guy with an OPS over 800 on here. They have a couple guys that are close. And Seiya Suzuki and Michael Busch are sitting right under 800, but you have to imagine that, yes, he's shocked. Not only because, and maybe he said, my first year with the Cubs, we'll see what we got. We'll make some adjustments. Maybe we'll have to add whatever it is. Obviously, he didn't want to be where they're at, but I think he's probably more shocked with how well Milwaukee's played. Or maybe he's not shocked at all. He's like, he understands the kind of organization that they run, and he knew Pat Murphy was going to be just fine at the helm. Maybe shock's not the right word. Maybe like he can't believe. Oh, I guess that's what shocked means. He's not happy, Chris, with how things have turned out. That's for sure. He's got to feel like so strange right now.
I think he's shocked. I think if you were to lock him down and to the lie detector test and said midway through the season, did you think you would be 10.5 games back? Not only 10.5 games back, but 10.5 games back of the team that you left, he would be shocked, because I think he saw the Corbin Burns trade and knew that they were probably going in a different direction. And I'm not blaming him one bit. Like, go get your money, go get your $40 million. You set yourself up for this. If the Brewers, I don't know what they offered, 60% of that, who knows, whatever it is, go get it. Like, part of your job is to set yourself up for your family. You talk about it with players all the time. Hell, he reset the market for good managers, which he has been. He took the Brewers to unprecedented heights over the last decade there in Milwaukee. Good for him. He deserves this. He probably also thought they were going to be dialing back big time on payroll, which they have. And he probably felt he would have a better chance with the Chicago Cubs. That is not flawed thinking.
No, I don't think that's flawed thinking at all. Yeah. But the more and more I kind of like look at the roster here, was it that much better than what he was leaving in Milwaukee?
Well, I think that there were a lot of young guys in Milwaukee that could have gone either way this first year, and it's gone the right way.
About the Cubs too, not necessarily young guys. There's not a lot of crazy track record there, though, Chris.
No, but
Bellinger coming back from a real big bounce back season.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, the 3 or 4 years prior to that, he was struggling with some shoulder stuff. It wasn't pretty for him offensively. The rest of the, Ian Happ, definitely, a consistent guy, not like a guy that's going to carry your team for prolonged periods of time, although he has the ability to do that. He's probably your best hitter in that lineup.
So
Suzuki's had some, a year.
Have we given too much love to guys like Dansby Swanson? There were a ton of Braves fans when he left and took, I think, what was it, a 7-year deal. They were like, he's nowhere close to worth that. He's a really good defender, and he'll get you some big knocks, and he's got some pop, but he's not like that type of player.
Yeah, he's not going to carry your team offensively. No, he's a great piece to add to your roster, but he's not a centerpiece of an offense. I don't think they really have a centerpiece of their offense. It's kind of like where I'm getting at here, and they haven't since who? I know Belly had a great year last year, but I'm talking about.
Well, it's been a while since they were world champs. I mean, it's been since those guys were at the peak of their game in Chicago.
Yeah.
That's saying something. Yeah, it's interesting because the Brewers have 2 centerpieces, I think. And Yelich has had a really, really good season. And Contreras is a stud, man. I mean, I don't think it's too much to say he's a top 15 player in the sport, particularly when you factor in the position he plays.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. No, it's okay.
I wonder if Counsell, I don't think you could ever regret it, because that check cashes twice a month, and good for him, and he's in a fun spot in Chicago and all that sort of stuff. Is there a little bit of him that is like, can't believe I left this?
I don't think so.
No,
I think it was probably time for him to do it. You're right. He's making some good money, and they could turn it around. I mean, they're going to have the resources to figure this out, whether it's this year at the deadline or in the offseason into next year. Like, I don't expect them to be in last place in the division, every year that he's the manager there.
Right. No, you're right.
Hope not.
All right, time right now for our Factor fan question of the week. I want you to head on over to factormeals.com/baseball50. And when you use that code baseball50, you get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That is while your subscription is active. Go do it today. I got my Factor meal waiting for me later today. I cannot wait. Thank you very much. I think it's Broden, Broden, for your question. Besides Mike Trout, which active player's career has been wasted the most in terms of lack of playoff opportunities and would be most deserving of a trade to a playoff-bound team? We're going to use that kind of as the jumping off point because Trout has 13 playoff at-bats and 3 playoff games. Nobody has his ability with so few postseason appearances. So we're going to kind of play with this question a little bit.
Yeah, again, Mike Trout just catching some shrapnel.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would say I never got one freaking postseason at bat. That was tough for me. I think about that
player
every single day, Chris. Every day. I'm like,
Okay.
why couldn't I play in the playoffs? I have one. This guy, he's done everything you can do in the game. He's won an MVP. He's been a top 5 MVP getter 4 times in his career. And he's only had 46 plate appearances, I believe, in the postseason.
Is that Andrew McCutcheon? Yeah, that's who I knew. I knew you were going to go with him.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a decent year for the Pirates, and he kind of like looks the same in there. Like the bat speed is still there. He's still moving good. I don't know if they're going to trade him, but I would love to see him in the postseason, like actually getting some at bats. I think he's one of those guys, like every single postseason, there's a guy that just kind of like steps up and is like it becomes a hero, like an unexpected hero. I feel like Kutch could put some big homers for your team, maybe a double. I'd love to see him in the playoffs.
Yeah, so he had a few playoff appearances with earlier in his career, first time around in Pittsburgh and with the Yankees as well. But you're right, he hasn't had a ton of opportunities, and none since 2018. So that would be nice. And you look at his career, more than 2,000 hits, 300 homers, 200 steals. That's a pretty good career. I went a totally different direction. This is a guy who is a bit player. He is a role player out of the bullpen. But because he's a left-hander, you would have thought that every team would have traded for him at the trade deadline. Like, those are the guys who get moved. And I think he's got an opportunity this year to get moved. In part because I love his personality. Andrew Chafin. He is the furthest thing from a star. He is hilarious, but he has played in a whopping 4 playoff games. You would have figured a lefty like that, he probably would have been a gun for hire, but it hasn't happened. In fact, last year, he got traded by Arizona, and then they went on the run all the way to the World Series, so he missed out on that. He played with the Diamondbacks in 2017. He played with the Cubs in 2020 when there weren't any fans. So this man needs an opportunity, and he's a great interview. So he's funny.
That's a great question. We had to really kind of think about this one because there really isn't anybody like Trout.
No, there's nobody close. Not in terms of ability with that few opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, if so, you can leave it in the comments section, but I don't think so. Speaking of, while you're there, we appreciated you slamming the thumbs up button. That really helped us yesterday. If you don't mind doing it before your weekend partying starts, that would be great. Thank you.
Say it like a YouTuber.
You go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Smash that like button.
That was nice.
That's pretty good.
I'll give you a thumbs up for talking about the thumbs up. All right, everybody have a wonderful baseball weekend. We are closing in on the All-Star game. Don't forget, if you're going to be in Arlington but don't have tickets to the game, you can hang out with our crew. You can click all over the place on our social media. I mean, go get your VIP tickets if you want to show up early. You just want to watch the game, you can get those type of tickets. We love it. We've taken it to Seattle. We've taken it to Colorado. We've taken it to Los Angeles. It's been a huge success. We want to see you down there in steamy Arlington. It's going to be great. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our amazing intern, Tommy Young, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Monday on Baseball Today, presented to you by Factor.